Boy, was I excited to hear this news. Jim Farley and Ford, boy, they are really making a comeback, aren't they? Fantastic to see that they are now trying to commit to electric cars. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Hope you've had an awesome day. And thank you for subscribing. There's been a huge increase in subscribers on the channel. And, we only started this channel 6 months ago, just over 6 months, and didn't expect to be here today. So thank you for your support, for joining in the movement, for jumping on Patreon and supporting the channel. I'll put a link in the description below. There's, I think, just over 70 Patreons now. Thank you to you. All of you mean a lot. Thank you also to those of you who have become members of the channel. You can click the link to become a member, and then you can actually get access to some of our videos 24 to 48 hours in advance. Now, a number of different news publications reported that Ford is planning to increase production of its electric vehicles to 600,000 units a year across the world by 2023. As in a year from now, they plan on making 600,000 electric vehicles in a single year. That's a big difference to what they were saying just a matter of a month ago. They want to establish themselves as the second largest US-based producer of electric vehicles behind industry giant Tesla. Now, Jim Farley has said that they want to upstage Tesla by 2030. I mean, that sounds fantastical because it is, but at least it's a little bit more realistic than claiming you're General Motors and you're going to sell more EVs than Tesla in 2025 without actually having a plan to make that work. So, in an interview with Automotive News published late last week, Ford CEO Jim Farley said his company would look to double the number of EVs that the company had initially expected to produce over the next 24 months. You know what? I think majority of this is coming down to the fact that customers are demanding. They're demanding them. Customers are saying, Ford, we want EVs. What the hell? Come on. Look at this. We've got 200,000 pre-orders for the F-150 Lightning pickup truck. 200,000. Ford has never ever had 200,000 pre-orders for any vehicle in history. So the writing is well and truly on the wall. Ford have said, well, we've got to do everything we can to make this happen. Now, that significant and immediate increase in production is expected to be focused on Ford's first 3 new electric vehicles, the Mustang Mach-E, the Ford F-150 Lightning, and the E-Transit. Now, Ford are having some issues right now producing enough Mustang Mach-E vehicles. Apparently, buyers in China are just cancelling their orders because they've had to wait too long and buying Tesla Model Ys instead. I made a video about that happening. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Now, hopefully, Ford can fix these delivery issues, ramp up production as quickly as possible. Moreover, highlighting Ford's focus on the need to quickly increase EV production, this increase is set to happen before production is expected to begin at the company's recently announced electric vehicle assembly plant in Tennessee. The demand is so much higher than we expected, Farley said in an interview with Automotive News, according to CNBC News. I like Jim Farley, but how could he think this? The demand is so much higher than we expected. I mean, was it not obvious when Tesla had 1 million pre-orders for the Cybertruck that, what did they have, 400,000 pre-orders for the Tesla Model 3? That was in 2018. Anyway, he said it's a really new experience for this big company trying to be agile. We had to approach it very differently than we've done capacity planning. Ford's new EV production target will be driven at least in part by increasing F-150 Lightning demand, with reservations now approaching 200,000 units. According to Farley, who expects north of 80% of reservation holders to convert actual sales. I agree. I think that more than 80% will convert sales. There's people saying, Cybertruck pre-orders aren't real because you only have to get a reservation, you're only going to put down $100. And they're not saying that about the Ford pickup truck, though. No one's saying those reservations aren't real because you only have to put down $100 for that one. So you can't have your cake and eat it here, guys. For those of you saying Cybertruck reservations aren't real, you have to say the same thing for other companies offering pre-orders for $100. And there's quite a few companies doing it. So I'm just going to go with this. I think Of all the car companies with pre-orders now for electric cars, there's a lot of them. I think $100 doesn't matter. It still is an intention to buy, and I think 80% at least of those will convert to actual sales. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think will happen with these $100 reservations? Now, the F150 Lightning is set to go on sale in the United States in, I think, the second quarter, the start of the second quarter in 2022. And by the beginning of November, reservations had already passed 160,000, highlighting the incredible demand for the electric ute. But those pre-orders, 160,000 at the start of November, which now are apparently 200,000, didn't include fleet orders. So with fleet orders, it could be double. It could be potentially 400,000. That's possible. Now, this was again demonstrated by the results of a recent Autolist survey, which saw the F150 and the Chevrolet Silverado expected to begin deliveries in 2023, top both the Tesla Cybertruck and the Rivian R1T as the most desirous electric pickup trucks and utes by consumers. Well, logic would say that's not actually true, considering Tesla has 1.3 million pre-orders, Ford has 200,000. I think we need to go with facts, not feelings. And clearly this survey is more based on feelings. They probably just asked people who were in a certain area, and people in that area were probably fans of those brands. I think actual pre-orders made, even if it's only $100, is still intent. Farley also told Automotive News that he hopes Ford will be able to slip into second place behind Tesla as a US-based producer of electric vehicles. Our goal is to become the clear number 2 electric vehicle maker within the next couple of years, and then challenge for number 1 as the huge investments we are making in EV and battery manufacturing come on stream, and we rapidly expand our EV lineup, a Ford spokesperson told The Hill in a statement. Now, for my thoughts on that, I did make a video about that possibility, about Ford challenging Tesla, about what will happen there, the reality of that. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. However, whether a production goal of 600,000 by 2023 would be enough to challenge for the second spot isn't clear, say the Driven.io, considering that crosstown rival General Motors recently announced plans to sell 1 million electric vehicles globally by 2025, backed by a commitment of releasing 30 new global EVs by the same time. Personally, I don't agree with that strategy. I think what's more important than releasing 30 new electric vehicles is actually just producing a lot of them. As Tesla have shown, you don't need 30 models to sell hundreds of thousands of electric cars. You just need maybe 6 good models. That would be enough for General Motors. I think they're getting distracted here by trying to make too many different models. Anyway, a General Motors spokesperson speaking to CNBC News said the company was approaching 300,000 EV sales globally through the first 9 months of 2021, though pretty much all of those are in China. Most of those are the Wuling Hongwan Mini, which GM owns 33% of that company, which is a tri-partnership, GM with SAIC and Wuling. And Wuling actually builds the vehicles. And they're just little micro cars, which are cool. But the fact that GM is now claiming those as part of their electric vehicle sales, a little bit dubious, considering they only own 33% of that joint venture. GM is also planning to convert at least 4 of its North American plants into EV production facilities in the coming years, which will build on its EV production facilities in China and in Michigan. Ford is so confident in its ability to scale up its own production capacity, however, that Farley also told Automotive News that the company was walking away from plans to jointly develop an electric vehicle with EV startup Rivian. I made a video about that because I think there's something more going on there, and I talk about what I think that more is in my video. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. If you want to know what I think the real reason is that Ford is announcing they're not doing a JV with Rivian, then check that video out. When you compare today with when we originally made that investment in Rivian, so much has changed about our ability, about the brand's direction in both cases, and now it's more certain to use what we have to do. Don't understand what that means. You'll have to translate that for me. Is that American for we are no longer working with Rivian? Don't know. We want to invest in Rivian. We love their future as a company, but at this point we're going to develop our own vehicles. Well, the investment they made in Rivian was brilliant. because they 10x, 15x that investment. That investment is now worth, I think, about nearly a quarter of the value of Ford. They only invested 1.5 billion. Imagine if they'd invested 10 billion. Anyway, finally, separate from Farley's interview, Ford announced last week that it had signed a non-binding agreement with semiconductor manufacturing company GlobalFoundries to make advanced semiconductor manufacturing and technology development within the United States with an aim to boost chip supplies for Ford and for the US automotive industry. The agreement will see the two companies collaborate to increase semiconductor supply for Ford's current vehicle lineup, as well as begin joint research and development to address the growing automotive industry's demand for feature-rich chips. Anyway, the great news about all of this is that Ford are clearly accelerating their electric vehicle plans. Fortunately, they've been watching this channel, they paid attention to everything I said, and they've decided that if they don't do what I say, they're going to go bankrupt. No, just kidding. Obviously, they've done none of that. They have no interest in this channel. If they had, they'd be taking EVs even more seriously. But, great news is Ford are taking electric cars more seriously than they were before, much more. But, and there is always a but, they haven't actually outlined how they plan on delivering 600,000 vehicles in 2023. So until we see those plans, this is really more talk at this stage. That said, I think Jim does have a plan, and I think they'll deliver on this plan in 2023. Thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for subscribing, liking, commenting. Tell me what you think about the video in the comments section below. Bye-bye.